Anyway, we're getting some nerdy news.
Yes, quite a bit of news this week.
And we're starting off with some phenomenal news.
Yes.
Disney and Universal are suing generative AI company Midjourney for breach of copyright.
Have you seen the comparison
evidence?
The comparison images they're using as evidence. And like how
honestly,
it is...
without the labels, I would not have been able to tell you which was which.
Well, I think if I stared long enough at the Midjourney, I'd be like, this feels off. But like on social media, at a glance, like scrolling a feed, like I'm just gonna think that was just, oh yeah, that's from the Thor film or whatever. Like,
the only one that I knew instantly was Hulk, because they'd made Hulk like too weirdly muscular and it had added muscles that don't exist. I was like, that's not what Hulk looks like. But the other ones, like Iron Man especially, because there are so many images of Iron Man on the internet, and because he's in the sky as well, there's not as much background for it to fuck up. So I'm like, I don't know.
But yeah, I did see some, I can't remember where I saw it, but it was on social media somewhere, but someone made a pretty solid point of the only reason they are now suing Midjourney is because they've realized they can't make money themselves through these means.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And they're like, oh, we can't make money using like in this, and it's people are disliking it. Okay, we're going to sue you so you can't do anything with it either. Like, it comes from a capitalist place that they're doing this, but the end result is going to be positive because them going after these generative AI, because I do think there is a place for these like AI tools that aren't these generative ones built off scraped data. Like there is a place for tools that use images you put in to help you generate things with like a missed frame or something that you might need. Like I think there is a place, and that's okay, because there's still an artist's intent in it, and it's using their own thing to make the thing that they want. The generative AI has always been the issue, and how much energy it uses, the fact it's all illegally acquired. The fact that, who is it? Is it Nick Clegg went and became Meta's like global? It's one of our ex-politicians. One of our ex-politicians went and worked for Meta as their global whatever for a bit. Then resigned. Hang on, British politician. Meta. Yeah, it was Nick Clegg.
Yes, it was Nick Clegg. As if he couldn't become any more of a scumbag.
He ended up stepping down because of, there was, I think, there was some questionable things, and then it kind of, he stepped away. It wasn't like I'm done here now, I retired. There was, but anyway, I saw a thing that like a month or so ago, he made a comment about, someone must have asked him in an interview about AI and stuff. And like, because they're trying to regulate it and people are pushing for regulation. He's like, regulating AI like ChatGPT and stuff will make that industry not profitable, or that like making them have to pay for the data. This was it. Making them have to pay copyrights for the data that they use to train it would then kill any profitability of that industry. And I saw it. All the comments were like, oh no, boo hoo, like we care. Like, but like,
let's be completely clear. It's very difficult because not enough people understand AI, because deliberately by these companies it's become a bastardized term.
Yeah, it's just become a blanket term.
Yeah. So we have to sit here and we have to go fuck AI so people understand we don't like generative AI. There is, like you said, a world where some forms of AI can be useful. But right now, if we sit here and we say to a layman, oh, AI is okay sometimes, in their head, they're like, oh, they mean it's okay for me to make an entire video of generative AI as long as I put a hashtag Gen AI. I'm like, no, fuck you, you're the worst person in the world. But forgetting even the differences in the AI. With generative AI right now, it is stealing from creators. It is stealing granted, probably not from me and Hori directly, because I doubt an AI scraper cares about our videos, but it's stealing from YouTubers who have uploaded their video to the internet. It's stealing from writers who've written a book.
Yeah.
And it's just you've got to remember, generative AI isn't genuine artificial intelligence.
No,
it is essentially a super aggressive predictive text.
Yeah.
Yeah? That's all it does.
Yeah.
You give it a bunch of things. It has a database full of all the stuff that's ever been written in that word, and then it creates a bullshit sandwich where it guesses what the next word should be to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And all it's doing when they say, "Oh, look how much better it's getting," is it's getting slightly better at predicting the bullshit. It's not creating anything. It's just stealing from someone and regurgitating it.
Yeah.
And then when you add on top of that every single chat GPT query uses a litre of water, it's literally not worth it.
Nope.
Just burn it all down. The only way in which AI of any real kind serves humanity is if it allows people to focus on being creative.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the only people who seem to be using AI are people who are trying to use it to stop being creative. And I would literally rather live on a desolate wasteland than have to spend a single day. I love the cinema. Do you know how quickly I will cancel ever going to the cinema again if Cineworld start showing AI films?
Yeah.
If Cineworld was announced tomorrow, oh, we're going to be the first cinema in the country that's going to show 100% AI generated films, I'm literally cancelling my Cineworld card right now. I've paid a year up front. I'll lose 8 months. I'll never go again.
Yeah, no. It's
fucking stupid. Get them gone.
it's like, as much as I hate the big corporate companies, this is when they are useful, because Disney and Universal are probably the only couple that have the money and the legal power to try and shut something like Midjourney down, in the hopes, not even shut it down, just get change, this will potentially be the push that actually pushes some regulation.
The only thing that concerns me is the kind of precedent that's set here only protects IP and doesn't protect and doesn't hurt AI, if that makes sense. So if the only precedent is set there is if it's your IP, they've got to pay for it. That doesn't actually do anything, because it would mean every single one of us who've put anything on the internet need to find out if it's been scraped and then sue them. I mean, I guess in theory you could, if you're in the European Union, you could submit a GDPR information request, and if that comes back with any information, you can sue them. But that still requires people individually to go, are you using my information for your model? If you are, pay me or stop using it.
I do think that it won't be necessarily it'll push for an IP specific thing. It will push a blanket thing of they cannot collect, or there's going to be some push that this is going to prove that their content they've collected hasn't been, they have no copyright to do it, which then their whole current data set is tainted. So essentially they would have to be legally made to start afresh by collecting it. And it's that potentially will help everyone. I do think this is the first step to actually getting a solid, broad legal thing that's going to get put in place, because the big boys want it.
Yeah.
And it's this is the few times they're useful. It's definitely a step in the right
direction. Hopefully it's a bigger step than we're thinking it is. Hopefully it does a lot of damage to the generative AI space. But even if it just fucking causes Midjourney to go under, it's a W.
Well, yeah.
The iconic Pixar blooper reels from our favourite films like Toy Story and Toy Story 2, which was some of my favourite things growing up. I don't know about you. Watching Toy Story and then at the end seeing Woody doing outtakes, never not brilliant, are making a return for the first time in 20 years with their new film Elio.
I saw that this has happened. I haven't watched the...
I haven't either, because I want to experience it for the first time.
But...
I love so much that this has come back. this feels like Pixar have realised they've strayed from their identity, and they're trying to like capture that magic again. Oh no, this is what we do. We take our voice actors making mistakes in the booth, and then we animate that as well, because that's what making a film is.
It's more just as simple as like, it shows to me that they're in a place where they're letting the artists have the extra time to do this. Yeah. Like, there was a period where they'd be like, no, this is wasted time and wasted money. Whereas like now they're like, yeah, if you like, there's a bunch of outtakes. If you want to animate one of them, go for it. Like, they're letting the artist then spend time animating, which is a great thing.
It's so good. I feel like everyone our age remembers watching them outtakes at the end, like Toy Story especially, and it was great. It helps sell that this is a real world. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to like watch the animated toys do the things, and then they're fucking up a line. And you're like, oh, they're just like real actors. Look, they're real. It's great. Robert Eggers is working on a new take on A Christmas Carol. Apparently, Willem Dafoe is at the top of the list to play Ebenezer Scrooge. Now, you've sighed and shook your head at this. I'm going to say something that is basically the antithesis of me.
Okay.
I think A Christmas Carol is one of very few stories that is always worth remaking. Because in history, every time they've remade this film, they've given it a special twist that's made it unique and good. And as long as they keep doing that, it's worth it.
My worry is, with the way the industry is nowadays, that it won't be a good remake.
That's when you go to Robert Eggers, because Robert Eggers is going to write and direct.
Don't get me wrong, you're right. There's a lot of Christmas carols and they're all good.
Robert Eggers is a horror director, like through and through. So this could be like a genuinely quite scary A Christmas Carol.
Possibly.
With like some of the most fucked up looking ghosts we've seen. Sorry, spirits. And Willem Dafoe's Ebenezer Scrooge is like...
Yeah, I mean...
We will patiently await more information and see how it comes across, but I like the idea of it. I have to be honest.
I saw this.
After 38 years, Star Wars spoof film Spaceballs is getting a sequel.
They've seen how much Star Wars has struggled with films. They're like, now is our time.
Hori, I don't want to get ahead of myself. And I've not seen the original Spaceballs, so sue me, but it was 40 years ago. Like, even Hori wasn't born yet. That's how long ago it was.
I don't even know if I've seen the actual full film.
But the Naked Gun is coming back in a few weeks. We know they're working on a new scary movie. And now Spaceballs. Are we entering a renaissance of spoof and silly films?
Do you know what they should do for this? They would like really lean into taking the piss out of Star Wars. They should do what the sequels did and basically rewrite the whole same story, but just slightly change it. So like they're taking the piss out of the fact that it's just the same film again.
Have you seen... So, as far as I can tell, all of the major actors are returning to play their characters.
I had seen that.
One of them is Bill Pullman, who played Spaceballs Han Solo. Lone Star. Lewis Pullman is his son. Lewis Pullman has been cast in the sequel. People are assuming, and I'm hoping they're right, that Lewis Pullman will be playing Spaceballs' equivalent of Kylo Ren.
That would be quite funny.
That'd be really good.
If they fully just essentially take the piss out of the sequel films, that's exactly what this needs to be.
I'm trying to be open to stupid films that don't have to be good because they're focusing so hard on making you laugh. And if I'm laughing, I don't care if it's like shot well. I'll be honest, I'm gonna go back and watch Spaceballs. I mean, surely it's available somewhere legally.
Probably.
I will fly my flag if I need to, but watch film. It's on Prime Video, so
Yeah.
I'll probably give it a go, and it'll probably be quite funny, and I'll probably be even more excited. But I love that these kind of spoof films are making a comeback.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we kind of grew up with a lot of good spoof films, and they just kind of disappeared overnight. So the notion of them making a comeback excites me.
Well, like comedy films got a bit more serious comedy films, less spoofy.
Action comedies.
And then it just kind of fizzled out.
Yeah. Right. Next up, Gary Oldman has been honoured by King Charles and is now Sir Gary Oldman.
Nice.
I know, like, I don't believe in the monarchy, like, even remotely. I'm not thrilled with, like, the notion of, like, OBEs and EBEs, and, OBEs, MBEs, and knighthoods, because it is a bit of, like, the class system that we fought so hard to try and get rid of in the UK. With the exception of creative people. I would like the monarch to crumble, and then as like a nation, we put forward creatives and athletes for these honours. Because like I hate the class system of the UK. However, I do not want Sir Ian McKellen, Sir Patrick Stewart, Sir Gary Oldman, Sir Ian Botham, and I guess as well Sir David Beckham now to lose their knighthoods.
Oh, no, and I think the way around it is you just let the respective ones that already have their knighthoods in their realms, they can then knight other people. So you let Sir Ian McKellen knight some actor.
I just like the idea of like someone like a Freddie Mercury who didn't get one. I don't know if he'd qualify because he's not technically a British citizen, but I'd give him one anyway. Getting a knighthood for being like, you were such an important part of footballing culture, tennis culture with Sir Andy Murray, cricket culture, film, TV, theatre, music, whatever. And going, that is so impressive. Thank you for everything you've done there. That, I don't know about you, but growing up, I was like, that's really cool. The notion that if you're passionate about a creative outlet, you can get rewarded with such a high honour. It's fucking awesome. It's one of the few things that we do differently in this country that I fucking love with my bones.
I think it's perfectly fine to essentially let a knight another knight. Like, let them decide who can be in their ranks. Just do it that way. That's how you keep it going. Yeah.
There's definitely a way, but congrats to Gary Oldman. Fucking phenomenal actor. Well deserved. The new The Naked Gun trailer, we briefly discussed it in the films that are coming up. Very, very good trailer. Had me cracking up laughing. If you are unsure about this film because it's a bit silly, bit off the wall, you're not sure if it's for you, go watch the new trailer. It will give you the vibe perfectly. I think this new generation is ready for something like this because this humour died off a little bit in the 90s. But this kind of humour is very similar to kind of like Gen Z YouTuber Zoomer humour, I think. Like Vine humour. Like road work ahead. I sure hope it does. Like,
it's like our generation's humour.
Do you know? So I think like this style of humour could do numbers. Right. James Gunn did an interview with Rolling Stone in which he mentioned the next few things. I will mention them, then we'll discuss them all. Batman and Wonder Woman are currently their main priorities. They're trying to get scripts done. They're trying to get actors in place. That's what their main focus is right now. The Batman Part 2 is not cancelled. Leave Matt Reeves alone and let him work. And I believe the direct quote is, Matt hasn't turned to scripting yet. Leave him to work. Leave him to do his thing. God, the internet is so mean.
Fair play.
The DCU is not afraid to cancel projects if the screenplay is weak, and they have apparently done so already. So if the script isn't what they want and it isn't good enough, they will just bin the fucking thing. They don't care, which is a good thing. And Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow has been renamed to just Supergirl.
I mean, it's just
makes very little difference.
Yeah, it just makes marketing easier. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and I like there is an element here, right, with this one. So Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is the name of the comic.
Yeah.
That this film is based on. That being the working title makes complete sense.
Yeah.
But as it gets closer to coming out, you don't want people to go see the film,
fully compare it to the comic,
come out and go, oh, but it was only barely inspired by, because they don't know what inspired by means, and then get pissy about it.
It's probably, as the script was developed and as the story was like fleshed out fully, they're like, okay, yeah, this was our starting point, but this is more than just that comic as a story. Like, there's more to it than that.
With comic book films, when it comes to inspired by, I take that as vibe of and characterization, i.e., Superman is normally hopeful and bright. If they were to say Superman is inspired by the Injustice storyline, I don't expect it to be Superman versus Batman on whether they should kill criminals. I expect it to be a darker, maybe more morally
ambiguous.
Thank you. Version of Superman. Yeah? I don't expect it to be the exact same story. I expect it to have that kind of vibe, so I know what to expect from the character.
Exactly.
Because these characters have existed for hundreds of years, they're not consistent. By giving that story, you know what version of that character you can kind of expect. I know a lot of people are being pessimistic about this, and I'm sure there are some things the public don't know. James Gunn, despite what certain minorities would make you believe, does believe in Matt Reeves and what he's doing with the Batman.
Yeah.
And he I don't know how many times he has to scream with all of his lungs, the Batman Part 2 will be made. Matt is working on the script. We are not trying to rush him. We know he needs to do it at his own speed. I know he needs to do it at his own speed because I've written scripts as well. I know how much of a bitch it is. Everyone just let the man work.
Yeah, it's just the internet. I mean, it always happens because the first one was so good and everyone's loved it. Everyone is just so eager to have the next one, and knowing that he's working on it, they're like, come on, we just want it to be like moving ahead and getting onto it, and like people are just like frothing for it, but you need to just let the man work.
You remember when we were growing up that sequels were always dog shit?
Yeah.
This is why, because people would be so excited after the first one. They'd rush the second one out and it wouldn't be fully fleshed and it wouldn't be good. And they've learned from that mistake. And when there's a good film now, they're like, hey, buddy boy, take your time. You write that script at your own speed. And yeah, it means we have to wait longer now. And yes, that does fucking suck. But it does mean the chances of it being bad are much lower.
It wouldn't even surprise me if, like, going off one of the other points, but like James Gunn privately said to Matt, like, talking about waiting, it's like, you best not rush this to hand it in, because I will say no and turn it away if the script's shit. So he's like, I'm not going to rush you. Make sure it's just good when you give it to me. Like, that sort of, like, friendly, like, don't just give me something shit because you're trying to rush it. So
I know James Gunn hasn't completely said it will never happen about Robert Pattinson becoming the DCU Batman. Like, he hasn't said it definitely won't be him or it definitely will be him. He's like, that's not a plan right now, but that might change, blah, 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 blah. If the plan is still currently for this to be an Elseworld story, why would James Gunn worry about rushing it?
Yeah, he wouldn't. Also, like, I mean, this ties into him discussing that Batman and Wonder Woman as priorities, because there was a bit more to the Batman thing of that he is struggling a bit with deciding on Batman because he doesn't. He's like, yes, Batman is a big part of the DCU, but he doesn't want to just throw him in there for the sake of throwing him in there.
Yeah, I think the quote was, I don't want to make a Batman film just because he's our biggest character. I want to make a Batman film because we have an idea of a good film.
And for him to have, like, a reason to be in the world. Yeah. Also, he said that, like, he doesn't want Batman to be whimsical and...
Which did make me a bit sad.
I think it's not so much in the sense of, like, it won't be Batman with all these wacky gadgets. I think it's more like they're not going to turn him into like a bit of a lighter hearted.
I'm going to be Adam West, but here's the problem. I want Adam West.
But like,
Here's my thing.
I don't think they're going to go
Anytime
super gritty. I just think he's making it clear that like Batman's going to have his Batman vibe. Like, what you're all seeing these bright colors and everything. We're not going to be going like that crazy with Batman. We're going to keep it feeling like Batman.
My only concern is anytime they try and make Batman too dark, one of the first things they do is they get rid of Robin. Because Robin is inherently a bit too bouncy and light. But that's the fucking point. And I'm really worried that we're going to lose out on Robin again.
See, I think this might more mean it's just like they're going to add Robin, but they're doing this to keep themselves in check so that adding Robin doesn't make them start going too wild of it. They're making sure they're going to keep it in this like good Batman vibe. And that's their sort of like guideline to keep Robin in check. So that he is there and he is a bit lighter and he does add that. But it's like they're going to balance it with a Batman that isn't also like that. If you get what I mean. Like, I think this potentially is him being like, look, we're going for this vibe. They probably are going to add Robin. They're being careful not to let that then... Bit like with the Thor film where they kind of let themselves run away with it because they got a bit too... let everything slide. I think this is his way of kind of keeping some guidelines so they can... Yeah, we'll add Robin and we'll keep a bit of that, but we're not going to let ourselves go too wild with it.
Yeah, maybe. Overall, I love how open James Gunn's being about what's going on. It does have the unintended side effect of I feel like everything's taking longer because I'm hearing from him more regularly.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Just like I've said, like, don't tell me a video game's coming out until I can pre-order it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of like, okay, cool. I know you're working on Batman and Wonder Woman. How old am I going to be when these films come out? Like, some really exciting news though. Tom Rhys-Harris has been cast as Clayface in the Clayface film. I'm excited. This film, we know, is based off the animated series. The story of Clayface is going to be probably quite psychological, quite dark. Going to be definitely more of a horror vibe. They've got a talented actor here who's done a lot of hard work. I am excited. It's always exciting when a character gets cast.
Oh, yeah.
Apart from when that character's cast as Henry Cavill, then it's not exciting. It's just sad.
I don't know what you mean.
But yeah, very, very cool.
Yep.
After a negative reaction from shareholders, WBD CEO David Zaslav's pay has been cut. His base pay has been cut from $22 million to $6 million, and his stock bonus option will drop from $23.5 million to $7.5 million. Now, I shouldn't laugh at him too much because he's still earning $13.5 million. However, before this, he was earning $45 million.
Yeah. Like, it's still a ridiculous amount of money for one person to be earning in a year. But
much closer to the realms of like, okay, he's a CEO, fair enough.
Yeah, and he's the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, which is a huge company. Like, yes, there is, like, a CEO does inherently have a fuck ton of responsibility. Pay matches that. That's fine. But yeah, his pay was ridiculous. Can't wait to see his Facebook Marketplace listings as he has to sell off some of his homes and stuff.
Genuine question. Just put this ridiculous number that he was earning in perspective. Lego.
Yes.
Yeah? Lego. As in Lego.
Yep.
Would you like to guess how much their CEO earned in 2020? So I know that was like 5 years ago now, but it's still like numbers shouldn't change that fast.
It's obviously going to be less than what he's on now. I fear. I'm gonna guess like the Lego CEO's on like £2 million a year or something.
He's on £6 million as of 2020.
Okay.
But this is Lego, right?
Yeah.
They on fumbling through. They're not reporting losses.
No.
They're not doing mergers and then undoing mergers and
yeah, I do
like
I do think some of this, like his reduction of pay, they've probably 100% been like, well, all of this shit's gone down while you've been in charge. Like, this is kind of, we're not going to fire you, but you're taking a pay cut.
Do you know what I mean? If you were to scale the size of them fuck ups down to you and me, and the equivalent of that size of a mistake at our job, do you get to make them jobs, then make them mistakes, and keep your job? Probably not.
Not as many as he's made.
Let alone be earning $45 million while you do it.
Yeah.
Very, very funny. Always a good day when a CEO has a bad day. Right. First 3 episodes of Ironheart will release on the 24th of June. And the second 3 episodes will release on the 1st of July. This show is already pissing me off. The marketing for it has been abysmal.
Yeah.
They're burying it. And I hate to say it, because even if this show got a 1 episode a week release schedule, and each episode was genuinely a masterpiece, there would be people, because she is black and playing a Iron Man Legacy character, who just call it crap anyway. And then they decide to fucking add fuel to the fire by barely marketing it so less people are going to watch it, and then giving it 2-3 week installments just to get it done as quickly as possible.
Do you know what I've noticed, though? Up until, I don't know, say like a month ago, I would agree they hadn't been marketing it all. They weren't really, it was coming and we didn't really know about it. Then it's like, oh, here's a trailer. It's like less than a month away. Suddenly, I feel like I'm seeing lots of like little sit down promo pieces that include Ryan Coogler talking about this. Almost as if they saw the success of him talking about IMAX for his film and how much everyone loved that. And it was just the greatest promo for IMAX has ever had. And suddenly it's almost like Disney's gone, oh shit, we need to, everyone's loving, everyone, like, let's just throw all up, like, just every promo piece has got Ryan Coogler in it. Just like, that's our promo now for this show. We shouldn't have been burying this. We should have been
using ad for the podcast.
It's almost like they've gone, oh shit, we didn't need to bury this. We have somebody great that could have promoted this. And guys, like, it's like they've suddenly flipped and like they weren't really caring to, oh, everybody cares about this director and we've just had him on. Maybe we should be using this as promo. Yeah. Shit, throw everything at that. And it's like, it is like, they're just, it's been weirdly handled. And I mean, this show has been through.
It's been a long time.
It's been through production hell, because at one point it was then going to be with Armor Wars. It was going to be part of that. Then that all got changed between TV show and films and then shelved and apparently isn't cancelled. But let's be honest.
I think the most annoying thing for me is, based on the trailers we've seen, this show looks compelling.
Potentially, yeah. Like, there's potentially a good story there, but also it might just be their show goes the best. But like, who knows what we're going to get with this?
The only silver lining to this cloud is the initial rumors where it was going to be a 1 week 6 episode drop, and they were just going to move on from it super quick. At least they've given us a bit of breathing room here. Not that they've given us much. I'm running for Prime Minister on the platform of outlaw binge drops. You must release 1 episode a week for the entirety of your series.
You're like, I don't care about any other policies.
No, I will run on that. And the worst bit is they've got you all so brainwashed you'll think I'm the bad guy.
You're going to be like, I'm scrapping TV license. There is just now a national, everyone has to pay a subscription to drop out. Legally.
No. We'll just redirect TV license to drop out.
Yeah. And that's all that's played on British TVs.
Yeah.
Speaking of
which, yeah. So, Game Changer episode, Crowd Control, the stand-up comedy episode which me and Horry fawned over. I claimed it might be the best ever Game Changer episode, and I do stand by that. We said, there's definitely potential for them to spin this off. That makes 100%
they're spinning this off.
It's got to be done. It's too good not to. It's already been spun off, as we both discovered this morning.
Yeah.
Not only has it already been spun off, it was spun off and had begun filming as its own show before Game Changer began filming.
Yeah, which we knew they'd done that as the first one because that's what prompted the bigger stage. So you know that they got to the end of that episode and they had their sort of debrief on how's this production gone. And obviously, in the behind the scenes, we saw Sam go, we've got something here that might be its own thing. You know, in that debrief, they've gone, we've capped, this is something. This is another make some noise.
No, I think it had been greenlit before they recorded the episode. Based on what was said in that interview clip, I think they'd already recorded the first episode of the spin-off before the Game Changer episode.
Oh, no, I took it as... Because this episode, that was filmed at the beginning before they'd fully started filming Game Changers, I think is what he was saying.
Oh, okay.
Because that was the first one. So it's they'd filmed that, and before they'd even carried on filming this whole season of Game Changers,
I think started.
They've debriefed it and gone, we have something here.
Run it, yeah.
Let's fucking figure this out. And then they've started running on that while they're then... But
so it's not going to be Sam hosting it, we discovered. No. And the format will be slightly different. I assume, as we discussed when it came out, actually, just doing that exact same thing every episode would run a bit thin, but also having that interesting a crowd every episode is practically impossible.
But I think they're going to do sort of what I was suggested would be a good idea. It's there is many different areas of comedy that certain comedians are good at, like dealing with hecklers or whatnot, that each episode can be just a slightly different twist.
And if they use their now blossoming relationship with Alex Horne, they can get into the British comedy scene.
Well,
big time.
In the interview thing that we both saw this morning, he was saying they saw on Reddit some of the concerns people had of the idea of this bit, and I've been, they're going to struggle to find that many comedians, and he was just the
comedy circuit is so big.
Yeah, they were it's huge, and also the comedy circuit in LA alone is big enough for us to do a whole season. They're not going to struggle.
The majority of the world understands how many genuinely hilarious comedians are semi-professional, because everyone loves comedy. Everyone loves laughing. Somehow there is not enough money in the comedy scene to allow more professional comedians to exist. The human race is genuinely hilarious. I don't know if maybe we have a better knowledge of this, because I feel like the UK, bearing in mind its size compared to America, has a phenomenal comedy scene. Google comedy shops in your town. Go down there. You go down there once a month for a year. You will not see the same comedian twice. And every time you go, you will see someone you've never heard of that genuinely you convince yourself is your new favourite comedian. It's great. Comedy is the lifeblood of arts, especially at a grassroots level. But LA and New York are the two biggest comedy circuits in America. Dropout has their hooks in both of them areas.
Yeah.
They have a relationship with Alex Horne, who we know has his fucking claws deep in the comedy circuit in Britain. Do you know how much I would squeal like a little girl if some of my favourite British comedians end up on Game Changer?
I've just thought of it they need James Acaster.
Oh no, don't even tease me like that, although he might be too big.
Nah. I think it's the sort of show where he'd be like, this sounds hilarious, I'm down. Because he likes to do some of the wacky shows.
I love the idea of James Acaster on an episode of Game Changer. It's one of the 5 chili spicy ones with Brennan.
But they could do this comedy show, whatever it's going to be called or whatever. They could do a British episode. It wouldn't surprise me if they do pick 3 British ones and get them out. It's
but it's so exciting.
It has potential.
There's a real chance that this show, whatever the final title of it ends up being my Dropout baby that I rewatch religiously, and I'm like, yes, happy juice.
Something I like after we watched that episode, I said I hope this maybe helps them push more into doing like the comedy specials like Netflix has. I think this show, give it a couple of seasons, we will then start to see comedians that have shown up on that show that were well loved by like online, and people are like, oh my god, they were fucking hilarious. Suddenly it'll be like, oh, they're in the next batch of like production live shows produced by Dropout. So
yeah, absolutely. I said it when we were discussing this kind of idea before we knew how like real it already was. I would love nothing more than Dropout to steal the comedy stuff from Netflix, because right now Netflix have got a bit of a monopoly on it with their stand-up shows they offer to everyone. I would love Dropout to gut Netflix.
This is like probably wouldn't happen, but imagine, because there was a period like I want to say in the last 6 months or something where everyone thought Bo Burnham was going to release another special out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, imagine
his next special he does, and it's like it's going to be on Dropout. The fucking internet would go wild, and Dropout stock would just go up.
Well, no, because this is the thing, right? There is a real way for Dropout to make this better for artists as well. They go to someone like Bo Burnham, and they go, anyone, you'll get 10% of membership fees of anyone who signs up during
so many months after yours launches or something. Yeah, you do. Yeah, there is the comedy scene has a potential to give Dropout that next bump up in like popularity.
Yeah. Big time. Make it the new generation equivalent of Dave for us UK and them. Because I'll give him my money. I'll do it.
Something you haven't got on the news, which I sent you late this afternoon, which I'd seen a couple of days ago, was the Critical Role / Darrington Press news.
Yes. You talk us through this because you understand it better.
For those that don't know, Critical Role is almost a parent company, and they now have a bunch of spin-offs. Darrington Press is their printing / games and books, like anything that's like physical printed products. So they've done art books, they've done other like board game sort of things and stuff, anything like that.
And did they not also do a custom book, or was that via Wizards of the Coast? Because they did a game book, didn't they? A while back.
They've got their D&D supplement book for like the Critical Role.
Did they print that themselves, or?
I think they printed that themselves, but it was in partnership with like an official licensed supplement. So for context, about a year ago, and it's been known for a while that like people have always asked, would you make your own TTRPG? Because they're so like they've got so big and popular. It's like, would you ever want to delve into that space? And it's always been like,
and there's so much money to be made if they do it right. And, and with the way Wizards of the Coast have, to an extent, been alienating their player base over the last few years, it could be very lucrative for the Critical Role guys.
Matt's always been like, I would love to. It's a lot of work though, but like, we've never like. He's like, obviously they'd floated out and been working. He's like, and then it got to like, we're sort of working on ideas in the background, but nothing. Then they announced Daggerheart, which is their TTRPG system. I think it went into like a open beta playtest like a year ago that people could download. Are you assuming
Campaign 4 is going to run on this?
So this is some questions. The community is mixed on it because it's like most of the community does like D&D and is familiar with it and kind of wants the main campaign to stay on classic D&D because it's like it's what it was built on. But then some people are like, are they going to switch to Daggerheart because that's now their system? Then they're not tied to Wizards of the Coast anymore or anything like that. There is a potential there that...
And it's also a great marketing tool, right? Because the only way you're going to see Daggerheart played for a while is via them.
Yeah.
And for better or worse, if you're a viewer, and you see these great storytellers using this system that you've never played, in your head, you're going to assume that system is even better than it probably is because you have no other frame of reference.
From what I've looked at about Daggerheart to kind of understand the system, there is you roll like 2d12s at a time. One is a fear dice, one is a hope dice. There's different mechanics into play of like if the hope dice is the higher number, that success is like with hope, or if it's like the fear one is higher, there's like a fear element to things. There's also stress mechanics. As you use abilities and stuff, you build up stress, which is something that is in campaign 3, which FCG's character had like this stress meter. So it was clearly them sort of adding it into their D&D campaign, like onto it like as a homebrew thing to kind of play test it a bit. There's different ways they do it. They're kind of simplifying how you take damage and stuff. Like, it seems interesting. Apparently it's definitely more sort of RPG player story leaning focused rather than hardcore combat, lots of numbers, which makes sense from Critical Role. Because
And
that's their...
the kind of people who enjoy Critical Role are probably people who are like, oh, I'd love to do it, but the combat takes 12 hours on D&D. I don't want to do that.
So it sounds interesting because there's things like, there isn't an initiative order. It's just once everyone's had a go once, then it's the DM's go. So what order your players choose to do things in is amongst themselves, but they all get one go, and obviously the DM has to keep control of like not letting people go twice. But like, if people want to do things in a certain order because of their abilities, like it allows for stuff like that.
It allows people to play, like, fight as a team.
There's a bit more creativity to it. So it sounds interesting. Anyway, about a month ago, they launched Daggerheart version 1.0, the book. It officially launched. Lots of people have been having it now for a month and are starting to play with it and whatnot. There's a book, there's PDF versions, like lots of, and they've been putting out videos. Matt's been doing videos on like how to build a character, how to tips for like GMs, tips for play, like different things, informative stuff. Then like this last week, they announced the 2 leading members that people will associate with Wizards of the Coast who helped build 3.5 or 5e, 5.5, have like shipped that and is what is the most popular D&D version. They left Wizards of the Coast a few months back, seemingly for retirement or onto new ventures. Turns out their new venture was over at Critical Role. Reading the interview that sort of Travis did on it, they'd heard that they were going to be leaving.
Oh, so they didn't poach them, he's claiming.
No. So apparently, so the 2, I forget their names, it's gone off the top of my head. They'd been pretty public about, let me look up.
Hasbro ruining their ability to do their job well.
No, more that they've been doing it. They were at Wizards of the Coast for like, I want to say 17 years or something. Like they were there for a
long old time.
Yeah, Chris Perkins and Jeremy Crawford. That's the duo. They'd been at Wizards of the Coast for, Crawford had been there for like 18 years, I think. The other one had been at Perkins had been like 17. They'd basically shipped 5e and 5.5, the newest one, and they'd, on the run up to 5.5, this new book, the new rule set book launching, they kind of had already been like between themselves discussing of like, we're done with this, we want to go do something different.
This is our last major update to the game, will be done here.
Retirement or onto a different project, whatever that is. Obviously they discussed that amongst themselves and word obviously spread. Critical Role heard about this, just said to them, well, we're making TTRPG over here.
If you're interested, we'll send you over some stuff.
If you ever want to have a discussion, join Critical Role. Like, if our doors were welcome, we would love like to sit down and just chat about. To which apparently the 2 of them then discussed amongst them between themselves. Like, they were friendly with Critical Role, obviously knew them because of how big that show is.
And I imagine, like, as great as Matt is and the guys are, they are actors at the end of the day. There is stuff about this stuff they physically don't know. I imagine they were very respectful and they were like, we're trying our best here. There's stuff we don't fully understand. If you guys want to come be a part of this so that we can make this the best it can be.
Well, yeah, it's like, I imagine there'll be a little bit of a, I'm sure there's some other people that have been Matt and a couple others I think have been working on Daggerheart. But to have these two like industry heads to then come in and be like, yeah, we've got 18 years of knowledge of how to we built D&D.
We know what players are going to absolutely hate and what they're absolutely going to love.
We've got ideas of things that we would have been able to implement into D&D because it was so different. You've got this new system that sounds cool. It would not surprise me if they've said, of course we've already got ideas for Daggerheart, like, but we're not going to share them. Like, they're going to 100% be the driving force behind like Daggerheart 2.E or second edition or whatever. Like, I imagine this is a huge thing, and I don't know if Wizards of the Coast will be
more, it gives them a lot more validity, doesn't it?
Well,
very quickly it goes from, them guys who play D&D think they can make their own better version, to them guys who play D&D and want to make their own version have gone and got two industry leaders to help them make it as good as it can be.
Well, yeah, it goes from being like, this is Critical Role's TTRPG to, could this be like the next big TTRPG? Like, I think Wizards of the Coast probably at the moment are like, there's plenty of other competition, like small TTRPGs. I don't think at the moment they're probably like not that fussed. They'll have seen this and be like, so that's where they've gone. Interesting. And then they'll keep an eye on it. And it's like, it'll take till second edition comes out, I think, to really see how this system works. I am intrigued. I'm going to look into it more because the system does sound interesting.
If campaign 4 is based on the Daggerheart system and is like a really good story,
well,
Daggerheart could find a player base very quickly.